empty the chamber on them. And how do you do that? First 6 seconds, point A to point B, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. We have a wonderful episode, a wonderful memory. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest runs in Ohio State history. It was Ezekiel Elliott's 85 yards through the heart of the South against Alabama in the 2015 Sugar Bowl en route to winning the national championship. Let me bring in my partner in crime, Nevada. Mr. Nevada, how are you doing today?
Doing great. This is going to be a fun episode. Always nice to think back on the 2015 season and the great time it was beating Alabama. That doesn't happen very often. That was pretty special.
So the lead up to this game was something like we've never seen before, just because it kind of took a miracle to make the playoffs, and by a miracle I mean we had to destroy Wisconsin, beat them 59-0, just to get rid of the sting of the Virginia Tech loss. We lost to them early in the season. They did us no favors by turning out to be terrible. They lost to, I believe, East Carolina the following week after they beat us. So, they weren't a good team. So we really had to make a statement come down the stretch. And then, we draw the number 4 seed and we have to go to New Orleans to play Alabama. Talk a little bit about the lead up to the game and just like some of your feelings going into the game. Were you confident? Were you not confident? Were you worried about, are they going to give Derrick Henry the ball? Are they not? Just what were your feelings coming into that game?
Well, I think, obviously, one of the big sub stories was, JT Barrett had got hurt in the Michigan game that year, and Cardale had come in and played, really well against Wisconsin. Obviously, your quarterback's got to play well when you score 59 points. But the question was that just an aberration? Was that just like a one shot, never to be seen again type of thing where everything just kind of came together, and would he just wilt under the Alabama pressure? And the Ohio State defense, who'd been on and off the whole year, had really put in a virtuoso performance against Wisconsin. And that was, again, another question is, could they stop this Alabama running game specifically? And a lot of question marks on both sides of the ball. And I don't think Ohio State's going to lose often, but I have to admit, going into this game, I don't think my confidence was particularly high that we'd go up there and we'd roll Alabama. So it was definitely a pleasant surprise all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, in my normal tradition, I picked them to win, just like I pick them to win against everybody. But I had a glimmer of hope when Alabama had played Auburn and had given up somewhere around 600 yards. I mean, Alabama used to not give up 600 yards in like a half of a season. And in one game against, Auburn really took it to him and ran the ball on him. So I thought we'd have a chance. I knew that it would be, the things that we would have going for us is that we were the underdogs. We were severe underdogs. Alabama had been there many times. I think that they might have looked past us a bit. And for our guys, they weren't going to look past the number 1 team in the country in Alabama. And it was a game that, the phrase I always think of is just exercising demons, because I know that we'd had, the SEC quote unquote curse that Terrell Pryor ended in 2010 against Arkansas. But, that's different than playing Alabama, with all the marbles, still up for grabs. So, we're going to get right into it, because this was, it was an interesting game. It was a pretty tight game. So, we'll jump into the film room real quick. And you see at this point, it's the fourth quarter. It's 34-28. What are your emotions at this point for Ohio State? They got the ball deep in their own end. Obviously, this play happened on the 15-yard line. First, we were able to get a first down thanks to some, Cardell scrambles and some other short plays. But what were your emotions at this very moment?
Well, you're just hoping you just don't go 3 and out, because if you do, you're punting from deep in your end. And Alabama had been moving through our defense pretty well, at that point in time, and up a 6-point lead. Obviously you realize you need one more score to go up to go up 9 points or go up 14. And I was just like, don't go 3 and out, whatever you do, and Meyer to his credit. Now this play worked out, but it was a running play, pretty conservative call here on first down and 10 from the 15-yard line. Um, but as you said, it worked out, and everything changed with one play.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. This isn't a core component to our offense. This is just a buck sweep. It was called 99 Bozo H dump. So there's an option to throw this little dump route that's wide open right here. I mean, they don't even cover it. They've got too high, and I mean, he is not. I mean, he's Bozo means there's a little dump route here, and you could read him, and I mean, if you wanted to, you could throw it to him because he's wide open. You can see obviously that's a real easy pitch and catch. But I think that the way Ezekiel was, and plus I think that some of the penetration that's here and here, especially here, it really makes this throw a little tougher than it should be. But there's a backside component to this Bozo H dump play. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than good because I'm telling you, this thing, it doesn't, it looks pretty murky right about here. You've got a free hat here, you got a hat here, you got a hat here. I mean, if you say he's going to split it through here, I mean, you probably wouldn't believe it normally, but we had a little bit of lady luck on our side. But this was one of the moments where we talked about loud stadiums. You and I talked about the '05 Texas game when AJ Hawk had an interception. I was actually in the stadium for this one, and this was about as crazy and as loud and as again, demon exercising as you could as I've been around. And what were your emotions watching it on TV? Because you were watching on TV, and it's like, I mean, it was and the kids going crazy, the family going crazy. Like, what was it when you see this breakaway right here?
Well, you just like you said, you couldn't believe it. It wasn't a play that set up like it wasn't obvious from the snap that that we had them out leveraged or out called or there's nothing about the play from the beginning that screamed 85-yard touchdown run. So when Zeke kind of popped out of there, you're thinking, oh my, now he'd been caught earlier on a long run. And so I'm just thinking, don't get caught from behind. Don't hopefully nobody's got the angle. And then your immediate thought is also, I hope there's not a penalty flag that came in from behind or something like that. But no, it all like I said, this view gives you a better view, but it starts off kind of kind of inconspicuously, and then it pops wide open.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really an ideal look for it. It's something where, so ideally with this play, you get a pin here, you get a pin here. You hope that Nick Vanette can hang in there. This isn't a terribly hard block, but you have to get a good cutoff here. Then you have your guards pulling around. This is just a buck sweep. This is like a play from the wing tee. You got your read here, reading this guy. Like I said, Cardell could have thrown this, but he decided not to. But you watch it, and the first thing that you notice is Pat doesn't get around, and Jacoby gives up penetration. See, Pat is trying to do what we call a skip pull here. So you watch his footwork, you watch him pull, and he gets caught up in the muck on the penetration. So if Billy is pulling for force, it's just funny because I mean, the guy that Pat is supposed to be blocking here, again, it's better to be lucky than good. Evan Spencer has the block of maybe the greatest block in Ohio State history, as far as I'm concerned, because he makes up for the fact that our backside guard doesn't get up. He should be coming up here for 33, but he gets caught up in the mix. Taylor does a great job here. I mean, this is about as good as you can do it by Taylor Decker. Who's an NFL $70 million left tackle. Perfect form, perfect seal. Actually gets the bonus of a little bit of gets a little bit of you don't necessarily expect to get vertical push here, but he gets it just because he's a good player. And the fortunate thing is you got Evan coming in, and I mean he's the guy that makes the play. He comes in here with the crack and takes two, and you don't draw it up on the grease board saying, oh well, you're going to crack him so hard and he's going to go take out the other linebacker, and then everything's going to work magically. But it's just fun to watch because if this guy doesn't get caught up in this mix, I mean, he's right in the hole, and Zeke might make a miss, but I mean, we really don't have him blocked, so we were very fortunate by how this all worked out. And then, Billy gets up to the last man, and it just kind of works. It's 85 yards right through the heart of the South.
Yeah, but you look at Nick's guy. Look, I mean, Vanette's got a good block on the guy, but the guy kind of sheds him and he comes inside and then misses the tackle
Absolutely. I mean, he
because
plays it.
Billy's kind
He
of
play,
gone
he play,
past it. Billy could chip that guy and kind of stay on that, but Billy goes up to the next level, and that guy right there comes off. He's in position to make the play, and for whatever reason, yeah, just comes
it's
up there and stop, because he's in a good spot right there, and he just
yeah,
misses him.
yeah, and it's just it's you got a guy who's as big and powerful and as fast as Ezekiel is. I mean, that's not easy, but I mean, the guy plays it great. He shucks.
Yeah,
He's done his little two gap right down the middle, shucks him head inside. This guy has contain. He's got this gap. But again, like you're counting on defense. You're counting on he's obviously going to get cracked, but you're counting on him to be there. You don't count. I mean, he gets caught up in the muck, and that's what really makes the play because Billy gets up to the safety, and once the safety's gone, Ezekiel had such jets that it was a wrap. I'm telling you, and like watching this, man. I mean, the Mercedes Benz Dome absolutely exploded at this moment, and it was one of those surreal moments where it's like you thought we could get it done. We knew it would be tough. They had Amari Cooper, Derrick Henry. I mean, they had some major guys. We were fortunate they only had Blake Sims at quarterback, but watching this, it's just like it's a game of inches. Like if we're gonna break down this entire game maybe next week, and there were some points where I mean, for a lot of the game, we really didn't block them that well, but we still ran for 200 plus yards. So the statistics look great, but like it wasn't like one of those things where like, oh my god, watch us just bulldoze these guys and knock them back and pancake them. I mean, it was a lot of plays like this where we got a sliver, and that's a lot of what football is. It's not always just hey, it's going to be blocked perfect and everything's going to we're going to get 5 pancakes and the running back's going to run for 200 yards. Like a lot of it is stuff like this where it's murky. You have a first round top 5 running back who can cut on a dime. Cause I mean, really, the $1 million cut is right there where he puts his foot in the ground, cause he's running this, this buck sweep action right here. And I mean, he puts his foot in the ground and is boom, gone, cause because the contain player is looking at him. And I mean, this is why he went 4th overall is because of this right here. Watch this. Boom. He puts his foot in the ground and he's up. And I mean, he is gone. Not everybody can do that. A lot of guys, they got to round that. They slow down. They don't explode through the hole like this. But I mean, that's just unbelievable. And, and that's why for us to win a national championship, you have to have a first round type of running back. You have to have like a Trey Henderson type or an Ezekiel Elliott type or a Maurice Claret type, a guy that's like a legit, 5-star future guy.
Well, it is fun watching that play though. Watching Jacoby Bourne, who I'm a huge fan, and like I said, couldn't be happier for the kid. But Jacoby came into Ohio State, like just a tiny guy. I mean, nobody thought that he was Ohio State worthy. They thought it was some sort of favor to the Bourne family for Justin transferring in. And you see him on that play, he just gets manhandled. He gets driven back. It catches Pat Elflein up in the wash, and despite that, it turns out to be one of the most iconic running plays in Ohio State history. And it's funny because I'd never really seen that before and never really noticed that before until I started breaking this play down. But it is kind of funny to see, a couple of guys would get, failing grades on the offensive line. Maybe at least 2 or 3 would get failing grades on the offensive line for their blocking in that play. And it turns out to be the biggest running play in Ohio State history.
Oh, I mean, I mean, you could probably grade down Daryl on this, maybe. Jacoby just because he's giving up penetration. Pat doesn't get deep enough on his pull. I mean, again, it's this isn't to discredit anybody, but it's like if you're really going by the book, I mean, if Pat is pulling for this linebacker, here,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
didn't get there.
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't get there. So it's like, I mean, again, but when you get a national championship ring and people laud you for how this is one of the greatest games in school history, and honestly, I've had more people say that this is their favorite game because of the beating the Saban, the SEC, beating Bama, the reigning champs. Like, I mean, I've had more people talk about this game, and so it doesn't matter. Like, it's like honestly, it's a lot like playing Michigan. Like when you play Michigan, all that matters is winning. Nothing about, oh, well, I didn't have good technique on this one play. If you win, that's enough. It's like winning the national championship. Like if you win, if you're 4 for 4, or whatever, like whatever Craig was against the Hurricanes, like you don't, it's you won. Who cares? And like when you can beat Bama, there's always minute things you can kind of nitpick at, but this is something else, man. This is one of those special moments in time, and I was really lucky to be there. Just because you just never know. The thing about a bowl game or any game is like you just never know how it's going to go. I mean, you could spend a bunch of money, go to the game, watch the team get waxed, or you could show up and get to be a part of something like this. And this is why people like to spend all that money on those bowl games and bowl packages because this is a moment you never forget if you're one of the people in the arena that day.
But it's funny though, because you think about this play and you think about this was like the dagger that kind of ended it all for Bama. You're up 13 or 14 or whatever it was, with 4 minutes to go, and people forget that Alabama was thrown into the end zone on the last play of the game
Oh, I
due to
mean,
some questionable clock management by Ohio State. So this came down to one score, and it was the end, and Bama still had the ball and with a chance to tie it up. So as great as this play was, and we all the time celebrating and thinking it was over, it still wasn't over.
oh, it was one of those absolutely just crazy plays, and I was glad we were able to get a hold of it, break it down. I mean, we've looked at some of CJ's stuff, Ezekiel stuff. Um, we've got a ton of good stuff that we can go through, and we're going to be going through. And I'm just excited because we can break this game down. We've got the '06 Michigan game. I think I'm going to put up another Michigan clip. What do you think about doing that in Nevada? Do
Yeah,
one more
whatever you
Michigan
want to do,
clip. Well, I think
whatever you
that
want to do.
that '06 game is getting a lot of good run, and people really love kind of seeing the nuts and bolts to how some of that went down. So I'm gonna dial up. Okay, we did that one. I've got like kind of the sizzle reel. Oh my god, is this the statue? We gotta bust out the statue because this is my favorite play of all time. No, this isn't. This is just a quick little completion, but I got a little nasty on it, so we're gonna play this one. So I'm gonna bring us back into the film room real quick. Take us to let's go back into the film room. So it is fourth quarter, 4 point game. We couldn't really stop Michigan. They had a great offense this year, and we're hanging. We're doing what we can do. So this was a fun one. This is, it's funny because you can see how bad the field is. I mean, the field is just absolutely wretched at this point. They'd planted new sod after we played Minnesota, and it never really took. So it was like we were playing on hay. I mean, the surface was just awful today, and guys were slipping and falling, and it's just one of those things where like I don't mind turf. Like you can see Lamar Woodley. Woodley's in his stance right here, and he puts a lot of weight forward. He's an explosive dude, and you see him just slip out of his stance and fall down. And you see guys, try to come out of their breaks and they slip and they fall down. And the reason I put this one because I like this pass set. This is your boy back in the olden days. So because I stunned him and I put him down. So it's like there's a lot of things that feel good in life, but like when you put a Michigan guy on the ground, it never is a bad feeling. Because you get to take a nice little punch at him, and our pass pro is good, but again he slipped too. Like he slips, and then I get to give him another one, slips, and I put him down on his butt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
so
reminds me of that movie, The Fighter, with the guy where Sugar Ray Leonard slipped and fell down or something like that. I think
yeah,
I think in your mind you pancake this guy, and I think as you see the tape, the guy
he sli- he,
slipped
sli- he slips.
clearly.
Hey, he slips and falls, man. But hey, I still score. I wouldn't count that as a pancake, but I would take that as a knockdown. I think this is the statue. So this was one of my. Hang on, I gotta run this one back. I think that this is the statue because this is one of my favorite plays that we had of our that we had in our on the reel. I think this is it. Oh no, this is to end it. This is the statue, I believe. But yeah, It's the same one. I think this is the same one. So the statue should be the next one. So we run the Statue of Liberty, which is one of the greatest plays ever invented. I don't think we do it here. This is just a pure double team. So this is not cutting time. This is where we got to get the yardage. We got to kind of ice the game down, kill the clock, keep the defense off the field, keep their offense off the field. It's 1st and 10, and this is the Dave play, but this is our power play that we'd ran 8 million times. They adjusted to it different. They gave us an over front where they gave us a 3 technique. This is Branch, who was again projected top 5 pick, played 13 years in the league, and it's always fun when you get that initial surge of movement because you know that there's going to be, if you move the 3 technique, you're going to get 4 yards, which is a good play, and you get this little bit of surge here on Branch, and again, it's just one of those things where if you move that guy, you've got to play. So it's coming off low, sting him pretty good. We got guard pulls around. He's soft there. Needs to be a little lower. This is the easy block to cut off. And then, you've got Pitt who just runs up in there and, this isn't good by the fullback or the guard. The fullback kind of loses his balance and is rolling around in the hole. So Pitt kind of trips up on him. But, it's still, you get some positive yardage and you're good. So here, this is another, this is 5 wide again. Yeah, this is just Troy being Troy, man. I'm telling you, this play was the story of the game, based on what we expected him to do and what they did. So, this is a cover 0. This is 0 blitz. So they got 6 guys up, so they're coming, and they're just manned up across the board. Everybody's got a guy. So when you do that and they're bringing 6, the way you handle this is we only have 5 blockers. Everybody else is out on a route. So since they have 6 guys, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since they have 6 guys, you got to leave the widest guy for Troy to beat. And and Troy, is going to get popped. And he knew going into the game that he's going to get popped because you got Woodley coming on one edge and you got Briggs or Crable or one of the other quick guys on the other edge. And and this is the mark of a great quarterback. This is what NFL teams look at, but it's like you got to be able to get ready to take this shot and still deliver a strike. And this is of all the plays, this is the type of plays that won us the game because we knew they were going to blitz us. We knew they loved to run cover 0. They loved to run the heat, and that was the whole reason why we wanted to go empty and spread everything out because they couldn't hide it. They had to declare that they're bringing it. And, we picked it up perfectly. Troy, took a shot and, we get it out wide to, I believe it's Teddy. And, this is the story of the game. What are your thoughts on this, Nevada?
Yeah, no, I think a play like that, Troy was making those plays all day long, and what I think was surprising from a fan standpoint is how much empty. I think you guys went more empty set in that game than you had all season, and I mean it was. But I like watching the Michigan guy. He comes in kind of high, kind of leads with his head too, doesn't he?
Oh, he's gone today. He's gone. Look at how high he is. He's right at his chin, and
no, well, and a few plays after this, Burgess comes in with that, or was it Crable?
Crable
comes in with, Crable comes in and hits Troy. But watch this hit. This hits high, boom, and he leads with his head.
Yeah, he's gone. It's a different. It doesn't seem like it's that long. It was a different than Teddy. Once Teddy gets it, he turns, man. It's a bad day for anyone who's trying to chase him. That angle on him, but Teddy's a different cat, man. A quick dude. So, but yeah, where we at? Let's see what we got here. This will be our last one we'll run today, and we got some more for tomorrow. But yeah, I think this might be this isn't quite to end it. This is another. Oh God, this might be the wild shit. The greatest play of all time. No, it isn't because Roy didn't fall down, but we actually did throw it to a tight end. Believe it or not. And again, like I talk about how bad the field is, but like watch up here with Teddy. I mean, watch the corner. It's like it's literally like it's like he's on a slip and slide. He's trying to put his feet in the ground and he slides 5 yards. But yeah, this is just a little simple play, and it's like it's weird because this formation, like a regular old I formation, it looks like something that like the aliens ran because nobody does this anymore. So you're sitting there watching this, and you've got we'll dump off to our tight end, and but it's
Well, I
just
mean,
good
watching this,
copy.
Kirk, it's kind of like watching like Ohio State football from the '70s, and just in terms of how different
Oh,
it is from today's football. You know.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's one of those things where I mean, I literally think I put this clip on here just to prove that we did throw to tight ends at some point. Rory gets open, makes a little catch, gets us 4 yards, whatever he got us, and that's just kind of the fun part of it all is that we finished this game out, and it was it wasn't easy. It was tough, and this was another one where this isn't the Crable hit, but I put this one on here just to talk about the importance of Q run. And I mean we run this little wind back, and it's not really there, and Troy keeps it. I mean, and his two primary targets are here to here, and instead he just goes and takes the free money. And this is something that, like, when we talk about quarterback run, it's not run the triple option, it's not run the read option. It's when you've got this in front of you, and you've got a throw here, or you've got all this free money right here. Take the free money. Like, look at
Well,
that. Like when
and
you're
Troy hadn't been really willing to do that much that year. That had been,
no, oh
yeah,
no,
he was really kind of trying to prove himself as an NFL quarterback. And back then, the NFL they didn't want their quarterbacks, making that play and making that run. But that's what you need to do to win. Like you said, we're not talking about hammering the quarterback between the tackles, but if you can get on the edge and pick up 7, 8, 9 yards,
oh,
those are those are huge, and those are backbreakers to the defense, and that's what your quarterback in the modern game's got to be able to do, and that's what CJ's. CJ showed a little bit of willingness to do it. He's got to be willing to do that more this year, and I think he will be, and that'll just make him just that much more difficult to contain.
all right. So I keep lying and saying this, but this really is going to be the last play, but because this is my favorite play ever. So this is the Statue of Liberty, which is great because we run this, and we drill this all the time, and it's just like one of those really fun plays where you kind of fake like it's a pass protection. So you'll see me and TJ, we step down into our gaps, and you count 1,001, 1,002, and then you go flat down the line, and I pick up the force defender, and then whoever's left is whoever TJ goes to. So you see it, and it's just funny because, like, I don't block anybody to start. I'm just staying down low, whatever, and then I release. Not really as flat as they normally would want because there's nobody home. So I'm coming a little bit further upfield, but you get the job done. And I mean, this ends up being a huge run. And again, like, who expects to run the Statue of Liberty when it's nut cutting time against Michigan, and it's I mean, let's check the time. I mean, there's 9:44 to go. It's 1st and 10, and we dial up the Statue of Liberty of all plays. We've been in empty all game, and we probably ran this once or twice, but I mean, this play, every time we ran it, we'd get 15 yards. It was like crazy. So, Pitt
Yeah,
ran it really well. Go
yeah, it
ahead.
was like Tressel had an out of body experience that day. I just like pulled out all the great plays of all time, and
Uh, uh,
the Teddy tight end formation, the Statue of Liberty, the empty sets. I mean, he pulled them all out that day. I mean, that could
yeah.
honestly that could have been his virtuoso performance as a offensive head coach was that day. I mean, it didn't get any better than that day.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny, you watch Troy's action here, and he does like the big looping windup, which is why it's like literally the Statue of Liberty. Looks like the big torch up in the air right there. And then Pitt is coming like it's like it's a pass block, and then he has to you know do a pirouette and come back the other way. Again, it's game of inches because we don't we don't our fullback doesn't block the end at all. So this almost is a sack, and it's almost not a play, and instead it turns into you got the Husky dudes out on the run, and I forget who I get, but I get somebody because I kind of just take them out of the deal, and then TJ gets up here. But you just kind of run him down, put him on the ground. It was easy to put guys on the ground because the grass was so terrible, no one could stay up. And TJ gets the block, and then with how the surface was, guys are falling, and then you see like, is this Hart? I don't know if this is Hart or Gonzo. Who is that? I think that's Gonzo. Is this Gonzo right here? So watch Gonzo here. This is great. Gonzo comes in and just cracks this guy, kills him. Oh my God. I don't think I've ever noticed this before. So 37 is their linebacker, and watch him. I mean, he gets killed. Watch. Boom. That might have been targeting. I mean, again, just like sometimes you watch this stuff, and then he falls on him too. It's even better. Like I've honest to God never noticed that before. I thought it was Heartline. I think Heartline was wearing sleeves in this game, but that was Gonzo. I mean, he came in and cracked that dude. So
Gonzo was angry before that game because Troy Smith was dating his girlfriend, and that was
yes,
I think that
the girlfriend that he never had. My favorite. And honestly, whoever made that urban legend up, congrats, because that thing that's had legs for 15 years now. I mean, it's insane. So shout out to whoever came up with that one, because that's like Bloody Mary, or I mean, that one's up there. But no, he gets a good crack here. I mean, this is a fun play, because it's like, when you really need it and it's 1st and 10 and you get this big chunk of yardage and you can change the field and get it to the other side of the 50, man, it is, it's a good experience. And I'm just over there just like exhausted and, crumpled up. Cause it's funny. I take old boy down, and then I just, slide, fall down, roll over like a dead, I look like roadkill right here, just laying on the sideline. These guys are all excited, nice and clean, and drinking Gatorade. I'm laying here dead, tired, hoping I can open my champagne and smoke my cigar after this one. So I was like, we better win. But yeah, there I'm just sauntering back to the huddle. But yeah, it's just fun. Like when you get that block and then you see him, it springs him, and then he can cut off of it and go get a bunch more yardage, man. It is glorious. So I love doing these, and we have a ton of it. So it's gonna be really good stuff. I'm excited about it. So with that, we are gonna say goodnight for the night. This has been the Scoop World Order.